Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 93 of my journey to becoming the person that I want to be. And not day 93, sorry, 97 of my journey to becoming the person that I want to be and a psychologist. As you can clearly see, I didn't record every single day ever since my day 93, even though it was my idea of doing so. I have nothing else to say except that I just didn't do it. And yeah, I wanted to talk more about my plans, my future plans for what I'm going to be doing. Since I did say that I am quitting uni for now, at least. I don't know what the future will bring, and I already have an idea of what I should be doing next. Um, Taking a step back from university is a big step, or it could be a big step back, but I see it as a big step forward because even though it's like a pretty big thing, especially for somebody who wants to study psychology, it is something that I just can't really grasp, not understand, but I can't really force myself to that extent to do something that I like in like 7, 8, 9 years. And during those 7, 8, 9 years, I'm going to be forcing myself constantly and stressing and struggling over things that I don't really want to study. And it might be stupid, but at the same time, I feel like I don't want my youth to just go, just be worse, be something that I remember as extremely stressful and something that I always stressed about and angered myself over. And it all comes to perspective. Some people might see university as something that is not too difficult and something that they have to just endure and go through for them to continue on with their lives. But the reality is, for me personally, I see it this way. I see it like, let me actually try to put the camera up here. I'm testing it out because I feel like I'm a bit too close to the camera and it's annoying me. There, it's like now you can see my whole body. But what I mean is if you were doing, I don't know, fucking business, engineering, or something like that, you usually just go through those 4 years of uni that is needed. You don't even need to do masters, you don't need to do PhD, you just do the bachelor's degree. And after doing the bachelor's degree, you can already have your resume set and your CV and be like, okay, well, look, this and that company, I did 4 years of university and I got my bachelor's degree. And they will be like, okay, great, you can start from there. And from there, you can continue on. You're doing business, you're doing engineering, and you're learning through your jobs. But with psychology, or any kind of like medicine or computer science, I don't know about computer science, that is more of like a freelance type of thing, though it can be with a company. I'm not very educated on that, but I know that in psychology you can't really just do 4 years of psychology and expect yourself to be a psychologist, psychiatrist, etc., etc. Because it is such a complex thing and a very serious one, because you're going to be responsible for saving a lot of people's mental states and maybe even their lives. There might be somebody who will come to you as a patient and tell you, look, I feel like I want to jump off a bridge. And if you do not say the right things and if you don't know what to say, it can actually lead them to continuing on with that idea of ending their lives, or even, I don't know, doing drugs or anything terrible. So you're basically helping people survive, you're helping people get better. And if you don't succeed in it, they might not ever come back to any kind of psychologist or psychiatrist, because they already had one experience, which was you, and you were unexperienced. So you can't really focus on the bachelor's degree, on finishing the bachelor's degree, and be like, okay, well, right after this, I can just be a psychologist. Because I don't really believe that that's the right thing. I feel like you could maybe do HR or something like that, but strictly like cognitive psychology, psychologist, or psychiatrist, it is something that you really need to be professional in. I feel like you would need to go to that extent where you would know what you where you would do PhD. And it might not be true. I didn't talk to a lot of people about that, but I really feel like that is the thing because, as I said, it's not a simple thing. It's not like, oh, if you fuck up a number in business, you're just going to have bad profit or you're just going to have an error. It is something that is based on other people's lives. It is something that affects other people's lives. So, when I was thinking about all of that, I was like, why, like, this first year is already a struggle for me. I keep trying to force myself to study, and it has been so difficult. Even though it is many of those things that I was supposed to study were honestly pretty interesting, but at the same time, I wasn't too interested in that. I always was interested in how people work and how they think, and was thinking about all of the mental disabilities and all of that. It was very interesting for me from the get go how all of those things work, and I would love to study them now. But right now, my first year is nothing about that. It is just me constantly studying something that I don't really want to study about. And when I look throughout the plan of the not courses of the classes that we're going to be taking, I'm going to start doing the classes that I like or that I find interesting at the third year. And I really do not want for the next 2 years for me to just struggle on and on and on, for me to get to the third year, just for me to experience that little bit, that one or two classes of interest, of actual interest, of me enjoying to understand and to learn things. And it made me think like, what would happen after those classes finished? What would happen in the next year? In the next year, I might do something that's interesting. I might not. And what happens when I get bachelor's degree? It is going to be difficult for me to find any kind of job that is not government based, but like owned by the government, where it is a private clinic or whatever, psychotherapy, or I wanted to be a cognitive psychologist. I still do, but I just feel like it is something that me as a person I would take it would be so difficult for me to do. And as you can see right now, I'm not saying that I absolutely cannot do it, and that is because I'm still battling mentally over if I should try to continue in that way and just redo my first year or move on. And my mother gave me an idea, which is a course that I talked about in the last video. It is called uh, what did I say? It is called life something. I forgot. But basically, in there, you're helping people, and my mother is talking to this woman online, and she is getting a kind of a therapy where it would help her understand things in a different way, which is, of course, as I said, something that I really want. And I really want to just try to change people's mindsets to a better one. Because I feel like I've had that kind of background where I have enough experience personally to understand and prove to everybody that no matter what fucking terrible shit happens, you can go through it. You can accept it and you can continue on with your life and you would still be a great person. And I feel like many people do not understand that, or they just do not focus on those things because they don't find those things not nor interesting, neither interesting nor needed to perfect. They just think in their head. They just think in their head like, oh, well, I am the way that I am. I become a bitch when this person does that and that is it. I'm like that. You're not like that. You can change that. You are like that right now, but you can change it when you if you try hard enough. And I'm very passionate about other how other people work, and I'm very passionate about wanting to help everybody. And it is still to me proven difficult how the more that I learn and the smarter that I get or the more mature I become, it is harder for me to accept how other people are thinking. Like people that are older than me, just the way like I have had good relations with so many people for so long, and then at one point I was like, when I became smarter, I was like, what are they doing? Like even if it is somebody that is older than me, whether it would be 2 years or 10 years, they would do things that are just logically not understandable at all. And I feel like it is because people haven't really focused on that side of their life, which I feel is extremely important because now we're coming to that point where we always feel like we have enemies or we have people that hate us, and because of that, we hate people back. Or not even hating people back, you hate them because you think that they did something. You hate them because for whatever reason, hatred is constantly going around. The negativity is as well due to your work stress, fucking anxiety, not anxiety, you stress, just in general, just negative emotions. And I feel like people do not want to be on like people do not want to understand. Many people do not want to understand it. They are too lazy to even think about it. And again, I'm trying my best not to sound too egoistic, but when you come to this perspective, it it just feels like every what everybody else is doing, not everybody else, but a huge amount of people are doing is something that doesn't make sense either for them nor for you. It doesn't make sense to anybody, and they're just doing it out of emotion and out of negative things that they're feeling. And I just feel like you need the right mentality and to be emotionally mature enough for you to do things the right way. And I feel like everybody is capable of doing it, but I just feel like at the same time people have to accept the fact that they cannot be right all of the fucking time, because I feel like that is something that really affects people a lot, because nobody wants to be proven wrong. And when you're proven wrong in such deeper things uh, that are about your identity, not about something that you did, not about your math exam or whatever, but about your identity and how you behave and how you've been behaving for so long, you take it as an insult because that is your identity. That is something that you have been, something that you identified yourself as, something that you know yourself of doing. Like if somebody would tell you that this person did that, who does it sound like? It sounds like you. You would know it. You would know it. But anyways, yeah. I've gotten a bit off topic, but life coach. That's the fucking name. They have a course. Those people that are helping others, and the course lasts 2 years. And I feel like that course, after finishing it, I think that I can do exactly what that woman is doing, which would really make me happy because that is something that I really want to do. And as I said, I don't want to give up on psychology just because it is difficult. And if that doesn't go well, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I cannot right now. I feel like all of the steps that I thought that I was going to go through, walk over, they're just gone right now, and all I can see in front of myself is a fog, which is scary. And yesterday and today, I had moments. Yesterday night, when I was about to sleep, I was like, "This is like insane," because I was thinking like, "Oh, I love psychology. I'm gonna complete my 4 years of bachelor's degree, and that's it." But here we are. Now I'm questioning if I should even go back to uni and redo the first year, or if I should just go on my way and do a course, or I don't know. But right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a job, and when I do find a job, I'm going to have my stable income, which I really do need because I need my own money. I'm 22 years old. I cannot depend on other people, and I really don't want to be dependent on other people. And at the same time, I want to learn about things that I love learning about, that I'm really interested in. But yeah, that was it about that. But I do have another thing that I want to talk about, which is how I even got to this stage of like being more peaceful and coming to this kind of mentality. And I feel like I have many reasons why I did. And of course, one of the biggest reasons is because of my ex, which is, it kind of sounds weird and stupid, but at the same time, I feel like love is something that really shapes your future and changes you for who you are. Because if you find the right person, you're going to behave differently and you're going to be a better person. It's just it. That's the way it is. When you do find a person that is meant for you, I'm not gonna say you're gonna know. It depends on you totally. But when you do realize that, it makes such an enormous change. And I've even been a dickhead to people in 2024, especially in Dubai, um, which I have worked hard on forgiving myself for that, because I went back to my awful ways of trying to cope with how other people are, when other people are being aggressive towards me. So usually, as any other person would, when somebody would be aggressive towards me, or if they would do something that hurts me or whatnot, I would snap back at them. I would be aggressive, not defensive, aggressive, and defensive. It depends if they're personally attacking me. But I would be extremely aggressive, and at some points I would hit. That actually, there was one time where I basically did a cheap shot where I used somebody's weakness and somebody's vulnerability against them, which is something that is so awful. I feel like it is the most awful thing that you can do towards a different person. I'm not gonna say any names for the people that I did. Like, if some people that know me are watching this, if you know who this person is, you're gonna know. I talked about her. For the others, you're not gonna know, and I'm not gonna let you know because it is private and it is something that I'm not proud of doing, and I wouldn't be proud to share that story and say her name and who she is. Okay, so in Dubai, when I was there in 2024, I went there. If you saw my videos before, I talked about it, I think, a few times. I went there to really reset myself and become a different kind of person, because I feel like my ex was somebody who broke me down. Let's say this metaphorically. I was a figurine, or a kind of a structure that has been built by Legos, by many different pieces that have been made throughout the years. All of them have different significances and their importance in the structure of my own structure. Then a person, my ex, came and destroyed that structure, threw all of the pieces around, threw some away, and that structure was never the same again. That structure was destroyed, and those pieces were not together. They were scattered everywhere. So that structure was built by a new person who had new ideas coming up and even had some new blocks because some of the Lego blocks were missing. So he built a new, better, and more beautiful structure. That is basically what happened to me. I was somebody before I got broken down and I built myself up, but in a different, stronger, more confident way. I am a totally different person with a whole new identity. Now, during that time when I was building myself up to become a new identity, I was still struggling with my past identity, which was in the beginning of 2024 when I went to Dubai. And I've, um, uh, long story short, how I met this girl, I decided to download dating websites in Dubai, and it was difficult to use them because, well, it's a Muslim country. So I barely was able to use it because I remember it being like when you download Bumble for the first time, only during that first time you can maybe see a couple of matches and whatever. Maybe text someone. Some of the images might be disappearing from their accounts, but if you get out of the website and you come back, it's not working. So I matched with this girl, and I asked for her Insta because, well, we started talking and I was like, listen, this app is fucking ass and it's getting blocked, so I can't use it. Let's talk on Insta. So we talked on Insta, and I found out that she had a friend, that she has a friend that she still hangs out with, who was my past friend in my old school in UAE. I left UAE in 2020, so that was a long time ago, but I remember her sending me a video, the girl that I was talking to, and I would see my old friend, and she would be like, "Oh my god, Milos, what the fuck?" I was in shock. And I also found out that she was going to the same university campus as my other Serbian friend, Uroš. So, Uroš was going to uni every day, and I was basically just in a villa with with nothing to do. So I was like, you know what? Since he's going, I'm gonna go with him to the campus and I'm gonna hang out the whole day. So I met the girl, and at first I didn't really like how she looked. I wasn't really attracted to her looks. I'm not saying that she's not attractive. She is. It's just that she wasn't my type. And then as the time passed, I started liking her more and more, and I found her more and more attractive. Personality over looks. Please, understand that. Everybody should understand that. Except only if the girl is really ugly to you, then maybe that is understandable. But if she's not, wow, holy shit, beautiful, pretty, whatever, talk to her, get to know her. She's going to be prettier than you think, probably, if she has a good personality that matches yours. Anyways, as time went on, me and that girl started really liking each other, and then we had our first kiss and whatever. And then I was thinking, like, okay, I want to get in a relationship with her, but how the fuck is this gonna work? Because I'm gonna be in Dubai for the next 2 months or 1 month and a half. I don't know how much time was left when we started, you know, liking each other and making out and whatever. I was like, well, shit, this is like, I don't know how this is gonna work. And then at that time, I didn't really think about it, and I was like, fuck it, let's get in a relationship, let's try this out, let's try long distance. And we did. Um, and she had her own personal issues. Um, in the family, not really, but she she was not really treated well by other men, and she never lost virginity because due to her religion, but she was doing everything despite that. She was basically there was no actual like sex. It was just oral, not anal, but things like that. I don't really want to get into the specifics. It's gonna be disgusting. But yeah, we did some of our own things. We went to a hotel and we slept together, but without actually having intercourse. And yeah, it was really great, and I really did like her. And she also, as I said, she had issues in the past, and she was using ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is somehow illegal. I think it's legal. I think, yeah, in some countries it is, in some countries it isn't, I think. But ashwagandha is basically like a kind of a medicine that numbs your feelings. No matter what you're feeling, you take that, you don't feel shit. You're chill. You go out with your friends, you're like, "What's up, guys?" That's it. Even though without ashwagandha you would be excited, you would be happy and whatever. With ashwagandha, you wouldn't feel the stress of maybe feeling any kind of negative emotion, which could be anger, sadness, depression, whatever. So she was using that before, but then she stopped, thankfully. But this is what I did. After those 3 months passed, I came back here and I talked to her a bit. We messaged each other, but the more that the time passed, the more we were like, the more I was like, okay, well, I don't think that this is gonna work because honestly, let's think about it. I don't know when I would be able to come back to UAE. It's gonna be expensive. I don't know what. I don't know if if she would ever be able to come to Serbia, especially because of her religious parents. It would just be weird all around, and it would be what. Let's say I would be able to come during the winter or during the summer. I come there for a week or two. I come back, and then what? We wait for another week or two during winter. I just realized that I'm not that type of person who is into long distance. I cannot grasp it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how other people do it. It's just not for me. And well, we started arguing because she started being mad at me, but I didn't know for what reason. And the argument was really stupid, but the point was she was mad at me, or she was hurt because I didn't text her that much and I didn't show her the affection that I showed before. And at the end, we decided to break up, and I felt really bad because literally a week or two passed since I came, and I gave her that kind of promise, which I feel terrible about. And well, after that, it was okay. We would barely text each other, but we were in okay terms. We were friends, and that was it. But of course, it was difficult for her to talk to me because she actually had genuine feelings for me, which didn't go, which I felt so terrible about. And after some time passed, my best friend um, got in a issue with his wife, and one of the reasons why he got into a problem with his wife. 1 second.
Idziesz do Pogasisz.
Да,
Laku noć.
лайку ночь. Yeah, one of the reasons why they got into an argument was because the girl that I fucked over um, got like into something that she shouldn't have gotten into. And I'm not really going to go into the specifics of it. It was a complicated story, but overall, my best friend did something that he shouldn't have, and I told my girlfriend at the time, the girl that we were talking about, I told her like, listen, don't tell anyone anything. it is their own thing. We should not get involved because it is just going to be terrible, and it is all up to them to solve it. But for some reason, after a month or two passed ever since we ended things, she got into that conversation and started talking to my best friend's wife slash girlfriend. They're it's weird. They're legally married because of the issues of her staying in UAE. She came from Libya to UAE in order for her to live with my best friend Dani. And she came and they started living together, my best friend and the girl. And now when they're trying their fucking hardest to like make it work, somebody has to come in and start talking about something that was in the past and just should be forgotten. And it was an awful thing, and I got really pissed because at the end, I got attacked from all of the fucking sides. And I got attacked from my best friend's wife's side, and she called me a lot of shit, but I forgive her. It is understandable, reasonable, totally. I'm not being sarcastic, but I mean, she didn't have to do that, but I understand her frustration. I don't hold it against her. But because of all that, I got annoyed and I got frustrated, and I was like, why the fuck did this girl that I was with and then I broke up with, why did she talk? I told her specifically not to talk about it and that it is not her thing. I I told her to keep the promise she promised. So I text her. I'm like, what's going on? Why? And then she started saying shit like, oh, who are you to tell me what I should and shouldn't say and whatever. And I was trying to explain to her, like, listen, I fucking told you not to say it. Why are you saying it? Like, I specifically told you not to when you said that you wouldn't. I don't know what changed now. Why are you doing this? He's like, I can do what I want, blah blah blah. You can't control me and whatever. And then at one point, we started arguing back and forth, and then I used the ashwagandha card. I told her that she should just go back to taking ashwagandha, and that I don't know what I said specifically, and I felt really bad for saying so, for saying such a thing, because it is something that is very sensitive, and it would be sensitive for any kind of person, and just hitting that low is such an ugly and disgusting thing to do. And you know, it was for some time I didn't really think about it, and in my head I tried to justify it as like, oh, I wanted to see how she would react if I would call her that, and if she would hit me back with an insult, then I would laugh at her and say, oh, okay, I just tested you, I didn't actually insult you, which is a terrible fucking thing and a terrible fucking excuse, because that's exactly what I've been talking about. A lot of people give themselves excuses for the terrible things that they did or that they still do, because if you give yourself an excuse, then you're going to do it again, and you're going to make the same fucking excuse again. So you're just not gonna be working on yourself, and you're gonna keep doing the same mistake over and over again. Um, just 1 second. Let me just text my girlfriend. Yeah. She hit me back with another insult, which was also a shitty one, but well, I hit her with that, she hit me back with it. It was something about drugs and shit and whatever that I did before. And that was it for some time. And it took me a while to actually go back and send her and the friend that I knew from before in my older school a message to both of them because they're friends. I sent them both a voice message because I wanted it to be more meaningful. And I apologized to them both for doing what I was doing, and that I wasn't really myself and that I was making a lot of mistakes. And I was really sorry about every single thing that happened. And I wasn't really apologizing for myself personally. At the same time, I was. However, I feel like it was the right thing to do, and I feel like if I would apologize to someone, I don't feel like it would cause a negative emotion to for them. I feel like the only thing that it would cause them is some kind of peace. At least that. Maybe it wouldn't, but there is a chance that it would, which is something that is great. I feel like people really need to accept the things that they've done, and they need to forgive themselves and others, and to apologize for the things that they have done, because I feel like a big step towards ending something that has been going on for a while is to say your side, and if you did something bad, be honest about it, apologize, and that would cause the tension to go down, because then it shows that you're putting your guard down, that you're actually being honest with them, and that you are understanding of what you did yourself. Now, it is up to the other person whether they want to text you back to say, I forgive you and I'm sorry too, or whatever, or fuck you, or whatever. I didn't get any of those. I got one message that was undelivered, and I got blocked. I got the one undelivered from the girl that I used to know in school, and I got blocked by the girl that I was with. And I really hope that she's doing well now, which I also said in the voice message, but I also understand why she came to that conclusion of blocking me. She wanted to get it over with, and in her head she might be like, what the fuck, why is this guy sending me a voice message when he made my life literal hell? I understand when people block other people. It makes sense if it is somebody who really affected you in a specific type of way. And I feel like everybody should just accept what happened. I feel like everybody should focus on themselves first. Which is it it sounds like many people say that shit and say like, oh, everybody should focus on themselves, but they don't really explain what that really means. And some people just hear it and be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna focus on myself, I'm gonna work hard. No, you need to focus on the bad things that you did in your life. You need to focus on the bad decisions that you're making right now. You need to focus on the bad things that you did towards another person. You need to think about this instead of when there's an argument, instead of thinking, oh, this person did that wrong, and he did this wrong, and he called me this. You think about yourself first. You're not you cannot apologize for them, and when you if you would even attack them for what they did, it wouldn't go well. You would you should first focus on yourself and be like, okay, what are the things that I said or that I did that were out of pocket, that were something that would really insult the other person? When you find those things, if there are any of those, and please be honest with yourselves, you cannot just say, well, I didn't, it's not my fault, he did that, so I did that back. No. Even if they would insult you first and you insulted them back, the insult back is still a bad thing. It is still a problem, it is still something that caused them to feel even worse. So you should focus on you apologizing first for your things. For example, I'm sorry that I called you an idiot. It was something that was out of pocket and I don't really mean that, so I'm really sorry. And I hope that you can forgive me and I hope that you're doing well. And if they would come back with like, okay, well, I'm sorry too, that's great. If they would come back with, oh yeah, I'm glad that you apologized. You are a piece of shit and whatever. Just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. If that person wants to leave hatred in your heart just for you, maybe you should feel glad. Maybe you should be not glad. That just sounds awful. But as in like, I don't know. It's I just find it stupid that people find time to time and energy to just hate on another person. Like imagine somebody hates you to that point where you're just in their heart just because of the hatred. Not heart, but just like emotions. You're in their head all of the time. Now think about that for yourself. That person that messed you up in any kind of way is in your head all of the time, wasting your time and energy because you're thinking about how they called you this, they called you that, you're getting pissed, you're throwing shit around, and you're shouting at somebody else because they did something bad, or you're trying to explain your side. Not explain your side. When you explain your side, that's fine, but isn't like you're wasting your time and energy for someone that did something terrible to you. Why? Why? What? Honestly, think about all of the things that you're thinking about. Think about all the things that you're doing. If somebody treated you terribly or insulted you or in any kind of way, it is okay for you to take time to process everything, for your emotions to go around and about, but you should never lose yourself and that person should never stay in your head. Sometimes it is a longer process that could even take fucking years, depending on how much they mean to you. If it is family related, understandable. If it is somebody who you really loved, again, understandable. Best friend, understandable. But fuck me, your colleagues in uni or in your work or wherever the fuck, like people who are your acquaintances at best, or that you would call friends. If you tried your best, there is nothing else to give. And the worst thing that you can do is still give your energy away to somebody that is not going to be in your life anymore and that is still pissing you off. Why? But yeah, this was a bit of a longer video. Sorry. This was a bit of a longer video. I talked about two topics that I wanted to talk about for some time now. But you know, my phone doesn't have any more storage, so there's going to be more videos like these where I'm gonna be on my laptop. It is easier, more efficient, and I can upload faster and make longer videos like these. But yeah, this was my whole rant about everything that I went through, and at the end, you get the fucking message. The message is that if you continue going down that path of hatred and feeling like you have enemies around you, you're not going to reach any good point in your life. Maybe you're going to be rich, maybe you're going to have a family, but just that gnawing feeling of hatred towards other people is just awful. People are born without enemies and people die without enemies. You're not anybody's enemy and nobody is your enemy. and it should stay like that, and it should be like that. Whoever says anything differently is a fucking liar and is fucking dumb. I'm sorry, but just you cannot have that mentality. No matter the nationality, no matter the whatever, no, it doesn't matter. We're all humans, and humans should live together in peace, together, united. If somebody's doing something wrong, either try to help them or avoid them if you can't help them. But do not spread hatred, because that is only going to bring more fuel to the fire. Anyways, that is it for me today. Hopefully I'll make another video tomorrow. I'm gonna try my best, and it's gonna be on the laptop most probably. But yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna go record my song that I'm gonna be putting out probably this year. I need to make a video as well. Anyways, that is a totally different topic. But yeah, that has been day 97, if I'm not mistaken. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow on day 98. Day 100 is coming very soon. Love you all. Goodbye.